What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR 365. Welcome to our Sunday Fun Day episode. We are now up to episode 129. Today is March 24th. And what else was I going to say? Oh, it's 12:02 p.m. So we are just after noon. And I got to tell you guys, I'm already kind of tired. Let me move my camera here a little bit here. Okay. Now, okay, so yeah, we just did a marathon episode on VR Roundtable. Hope you guys check that out. Any of you that did not check out today's VR Roundtable episode, I highly encourage you to bounce over to VR Roundtable later today and check out the actual archive, because I thought it was a good episode. We talked about a lot of stuff. We could have probably continued for like another hour and a half. There was that much stuff to talk about. Like, we didn't even talk about games that were announced or other things that I might have saw at GDC or any of that other stuff. And it was crazy. But I thought we had a lot of fun. Now, today, one thing I have to say about our show today is I have no topics at all. I have nothing prepared for today's show. And what do I do when I'm in a situation like that? I grab somebody to save my ass. And so I've grabbed Mamefan, and we're going to have his voice checking in. Still no video. Still, we tried to set it up right before we started. Couldn't get that working. I'm gonna have to figure that out after hours. We got to get this video thing solved, but I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and unmute Mamefan. Now, I will need your guys' help in chat for the next like 2 minutes here to get Mamefan's audio dialed in, and then also like let me know if my game trailers are way too loud. Let me know about that. Basically, let me know if there's any weird audio weirdness in chat, so I'll be able to adjust it and get that situated. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring Mamefan in. So I'm unmuting Mamefan. Okay, Mamefan, what is up? How's it going, bro?
Hey, what's up? I listened to your incredibly long marathon VR Roundtable. It was really good.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't believe you're still going.
Well, you know, it's contracts. I've signed contracts with the devil that require me to be here every day. Well, see, for this episode here, I've decided to have a much shorter show today. I'm not planning on doing a long show. And basically, what we're going to do today, guys, is I'm going to be interviewing Mamefan for the most part. Yeah, and what I'm going to do is I kind of want to get Mamefan's thoughts, but in a chronological kind of fashion. So we're going to kind of go back in time. We're going to go back to Tuesday at 8 a.m. when all the drama kicked off. Well, it was 8 a.m. Pacific. You know, it was probably, what, 11 or 11, you know, Eastern time when the first information came out about Rift S and all of that. And so many things have been going on this week. We obviously have a lot of Rift S stuff. We've got Oculus Quest stuff. We've got HP Reverb. We've got games that have been coming out or games that have been announced, and any other stuff, even possible rumors or other things that are going on. So we'll just go ahead and talk to Mamefan about all this type of stuff. So Mamefan, why don't we go ahead and... So again, you guys that are in chat, if Mamefan is like way too loud, let me know. If he's way too quiet, let me know. If my trailer music... Can you guys hear this trailer music right now? Because I can't even hear it.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No.
Okay. I mean, I don't need to have the music loud anyway, so that's fine. I'll just...
Oh, but I don't have audio from this YouTube coming to my headphones anyway.
Yeah, we're going to wait and see what people say in chat. See, there is a delay, so we kind of have to wait and see if anybody says, like, just basically someone in chat, let me know, gameplay trailers too loud or whatever. Just I'll try to keep my eye on chat and see we can alter that.
Rich said, actually sounds perfect. We hear it.
Okay. Chris Richardson says it's loud as F. Okay, and now he says trailer music is fine just now. Okay, because I turned it down a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just turn it down just teeny wee bit more. Okay. Trailer music is, and Onakaze says, I hear some music. Yeah, it's okay to have a little bit of background music. That's actually not too bad. All right, so let's go ahead and do this interview. And this is nice for me because I get to take a little bit of a break and let somebody else kind of take over a little bit. Okay, so Mamefan, I can tell you that I was in my hotel room at 8 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesday waiting for this major announcement that was coming. What were you doing when you first found out about the Rift S and all the details that came out about it?
Yeah, I think it came out when I was at work.
Yeah, this was Tuesday morning, kind of.
Yeah, I was at work, and as usual, just instead of doing work, I was on the internet looking at VR sites.
Okay, they're saying a little bit lower for Mamefan, so I'll just dial it back a little bit there. Okay, kill the trailer music. It's really repetitive. Okay, I'll just turn it down. It's kind of nice if there's just a tiny little bit of noise going on underneath, but I don't really. And lower for Mamefan music too. Yeah, okay, so I'll turn the trailer down a little bit. And Mamefan's probably okay. Okay, go ahead, Mamefan.
You asked what I was doing. I was at work, not doing work.
Okay.
And just following the news.
Okay, so when you saw the announcement, I'll tell you that when I saw it, the first thing that jumped out to me was the 1440p. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And then the $399 price. What about you?
I thought it would be at least Vive Pro Odyssey resolution. The price was surprising too, because I thought the price would be at least, I thought it would be 350 or maybe 300. So that was surprising. Yeah, I'm not excited about it at all. I'm not going to buy it.
Oh, you're not buying Rift S, huh?
No way. Not even close. It's not even a consideration.
Because why?
Because it's not enough of an upgrade. It's barely an upgrade. There's barely a resolution bump. It is an RGB panel, but it's LCD, then it's 80 hertz, no integrated headphones. The biggest thing for me is there's a wire. If it was wireless, I would get it for sure, even if the price was higher. That's important to me. So I'm not going to go back to a cord. I don't need to.
Yeah. So primarily when you're playing VR, what are you going to play later today? Like, what is Mamefan going to play later today if you jumped into VR today?
Well, I'm going to make another Creed video. I don't, that's not what I would normally be playing, but that's what is getting views. Yeah, I would play Slightly Heroes. I played some Final Assault last night. I might try more of that. I tried Space Junkies recently. Maybe I've been playing Witching Tower because it was on sale recently.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I kind of like that.
Did you notice with Witching Tower? Just a quick question, since you mentioned it. Mm-hmm. Did you notice that there's aspects of it that seem like really polished and kind of almost like double A-ish, and then there's other aspects that seem kind of like real indie-ish?
Yeah, it's been better than I expected, but there have been updates. Probably been a lot of updates since you played it, because you played it right when it came out.
Yeah.
Some of the locomotion seems indie-ish, but it looks pretty impressive. It works pretty well, but some of the interaction with your inventory and stuff is janky. And interaction with your belt, like putting your weapons on your belt and all that doesn't work that well sometimes. But otherwise, I like it.
Okay, and so when you're going to be playing this stuff, are you going to be using your standard Vive with the wireless adapter?
When I play what? All these games I just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be using Vive with wireless. I only use my Rift for Rift exclusives.
Okay, so for you, when you think about the Vive with wireless, that's kind of the key factor there. So like these other headsets, they're not adding wireless, so that's a big turnoff. So what about like when we think about like Reverb? Like we could just go in, we'll just have a free-flowing discussion. We'll just go anywhere at any time. So let's go ahead and talk about the HP Reverb, because that got announced this week as well. And we found out $599 is the price. Apparently it is coming at some point in the month of April, like mid to late April, $599, 2160 by 2160 per eye. You got 2 individual screens, but no IPD adjustment, which is kind of weird. It is a LCD screen. You know, the one thing I'm not sure about in regards to the Reverb, do you know if it's RGB stripe or Pentile?
It is. I was wondering that today too, while your show was on, and I confirmed, yeah, it's RGB and LCD, 2 screens.
Okay, so what about that headset? Is that tempting you? Because that's even higher resolution than like the Pimax that you have coming.
Yeah, that is tempting to me. I might get that. It all depends on if this Pimax ever comes. It's a 5K plus, and if I like it, I might hate it. I don't know. And this latest news has actually made a Vive Pro more interesting to me.
Okay.
Because it's wireless. And it has, you know, a bigger resolution bump, even though it's Pentile. I'm kind of leaning maybe in that direction, but maybe only if they drop the price a little bit.
Yeah. What about like this Vive ecosystem thing is actually, the way I understand it, tomorrow, even though it's the 25th tomorrow, and I guess this Vive ecosystem is on the 26th, but it's in China, and because of the time difference, I think by the evening time tomorrow, this Vive ecosystem thing will have already happened. Are you looking forward to possibly information coming out about Vive Cosmos? Could that change anything for you?
Yeah, Cosmos might. Depends on the specs. We don't know enough. Yeah, if it's like 2160 by 2160, definitely.
You know, one thing in regards to the 2160 by 2160 thing, like I thought, like I was in love with this idea of 2160 by 2160, but there is a conundrum here for all these headset manufacturers, and we kind of just got into it on VR Roundtable, the idea that you're going to have to upgrade your video card. Like, what video card do you currently have at this time?
A 1080 Ti in my Vive machine and a 2070 in my Rift machine.
Ah, interesting. How would you compare those two?
It's hard to do because I haven't played the Rift machine enough.
Okay.
Probably the 1080 Ti, I think on paper is more powerful. But I went in the Rift. I used to have a 980 Ti, and going to the 2070, I've noticed it's better for sure.
And so, if you were to get one of these 2160 headsets, for example, the Reverb or possibly the Cosmos, if it turns out to be like that, do you feel like you're going to have to make an upgrade, or are you going to just try it with what you have and just kind of play it by ear?
I'll just play it by ear with what I have, because the 2080 Ti I don't think is a big enough jump, so I'd wait for the next card to come out.
When are the next cards coming out?
Yeah, it's probably going to be a while.
What about AMD, the red team?
I don't want to join the red team.
Well, no. I mean, they don't have anything that you're going to want to join them yet, but maybe like they might be on a different kind of a schedule, you know. And then what about Intel? Intel is getting in the graphic card game.
Doubt it. I doubt that will be worth anything for us.
All right. So it's kind of confusing here. Like, I mean, we're thinking about getting new headsets, but man, it's like, what direction do you go? But let's go back to the Rift S and the different issues that are going on here. So the comfort factor, that's not something that you really concern yourself with, because the comfort, I mean, I know you haven't personally tried the Rift S yet, but the comfort really is on another level, I think.
I've never had any comfort issues with the Vive or Rift. My only comfort issues were with Odyssey Plus and PSVR. Anything that is a Halo doesn't work with me. It hurts my forehead, and I think it's because there's less cushion on my forehead. It's kind of like just mostly skin and bone, whereas my face, there's fat in my face, and then there's cushion.
That's interesting, because it's kind of opposite for me. It seems to be. What about, like, what do you think Oculus is doing here? Because one of the debates that we were having on VR Roundtable is, like, understanding what is going on. Because Oculus, they say one thing over here, and then they say another thing over here, and it seems like they're kind of just saying whatever sounds good at the time almost in these different interviews. And it's hard to understand what's going on here, because on the one side, it would seem that Oculus is on this race to the bottom, where they're trying to lower the cost of manufacture so that ostensibly they would lower it for the end consumer as well. But then we're not seeing that price drop. It's $399, so not really a price drop there. What is your feeling on like the pricing of all this? Are you like outraged at the $399 price, or do you kind of understand what Oculus is doing?
I'm not outraged at all. Price is never that, I don't want to sound like a dick. Price is never that big of a deal to me. Even if the Rift S was $100, I don't think I would be interested.
Wow. What about if you could go try it right now at like the Windows store? Would you want to even try it?
That's a drive on 495 up to Tyson's Corner. I mean, I wouldn't be that thrilled. I went there to try HoloLens and Vive Pro, and that was worth it. Because I mean, you don't get a lot of chance to try HoloLens. I mean, I'd probably go if I had a day off. Maybe I would go try that. I don't know. Just
so you could kind of know, just for the conversation, really, right?
Yeah, and like you said, you said you didn't really notice a resolution difference, and I kind of felt that way when I tried the Vive Pro at the Microsoft Store, but I think I would need to do like a one-to-one comparison, or be used to the Vive Pro, and then go back to the regular Vive, and then I would probably notice.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was talking about, is like even way back when the Samsung Odyssey arrived, and you know, it had this higher resolution, and then the Vive Pro arrived and it had a higher resolution, but the higher resolution was higher, but it wasn't like, it's not, I always felt like it wasn't a big enough jump where you're going to put on a headset and you're going to notice it. Like, I would think it would be like very minuscule, like you'll barely notice the difference. I'm looking for more night and day kind of differences. And so I was super surprised when we get into these conversations about the Rift S, and Tested is trying it, and Engadget is trying it, and The Verge and everybody. And they're talking about this higher resolution, like that super tiny increase is really going to be noticeable.
Yeah, and also, like you guys are saying on the show, or I think Steve was, that some people are saying that, you know, it's not even using all its pixels, that it's just pushing the same resolution as the regular Rift. But then, you know, there's conflicting reports on that, so we're not sure, you know.
Yeah,
so it's just gonna look. Sorry.
I was just going to say there's conflicting reports on almost everything, it seems like, right? So do you have a Go, or have you used a Go? I can't remember.
I have a Gear VR.
Oh, okay, Gear VR.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a Go?
No, I've never even tried a Go.
Interesting, because I mean there's controversy going on there as well, where a lot of people are saying the screen that is in the Rift S is basically it is the Go screen, period.
That's what I believe.
Yeah, but so what would you say to the fact that Nate Mitchell, in a direct quote with Tested, he says very similar to the Go screen? Like, if you had internal knowledge, like if you worked at Oculus, if you were Nate Mitchell and you know emphatically that it is the Go screen, like you know that, like Nate Mitchell has to know that if that's the case, why would you say very similar? It's also a fast switch LCD. Why would you say that if it is the exact same screen? Do you think it was just a slip up?
Because it's the exact same screen, but it's overclocked to 80 hertz. So I think you could get away with saying very similar.
Like on a technicality.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he doesn't really want to tell everyone, yeah, it's the same screen as the Go. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't sound very good. It sounds good to some people that are absolutely in love with the Oculus Go. There are people like Gary. I always talk about Gary whenever I get into the Oculus Go, just because when he first got his Oculus Go, he was kind of ranting and raving about the optics and the the reduction in God rays and just the overall general clarity of everything. And certainly the black levels are definitely affected a little bit. The color, the vividness of the color is affected a little bit. Oh, MRTV is checking in. Sebastian is in the building, and he says, "Hi, Anthony. It is the Go screen. They just don't want to make it sound cheap, reused." Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't consider the technicality factor, and I think I kind of agree with you now, where if you are going to overclock it to 80 hertz potentially, then it somehow ends up being different, although it's the same screen, so it's kind of a weird technicality. In that tested, did you happen to see that tested interview with Norm and them, the entire video?
I watched everything.
Okay, so in that video, one of the things they got into at some point in the conversation was, what about the possibility of somehow allowing the user to maybe set it to 90 hertz? Like if the user has a PC, like why punish the users and have it go down to 80? Give them the opportunity to bump it back up to 90, but it wasn't clear whether or not the screen could even do that. And then Nate Mitchell kind of hinted that maybe it's something they'll consider, but he kind of dodged it as well. So
I'd lean more toward no, but I don't know enough about screen technology, about overclocking like from 72 to 80 and then to 90. I don't know like what that could do to the screen.
Yeah. R. Gambo says Mamefan sees through the BS. You see through the bull.
Thank you.
Okay, I should probably change up this trailer. Hold on 1 second. Let's throw something else on. Let's see. I'll just throw on trailer.
Oh yeah, and they I don't know if I already said they took out the integrated headphones. Now it's just that. But I've never tried a Go, so I don't really know how good that is. You have a Go, don't they? Oh, they have a different type in the headband, right?
Yeah. They have the built-in headphones that are in the headband that you can use.
But it's a different design, right, than the Quest and Rift S?
It's hard to say. I don't know how different it is. The one real irritant I have though is so you have an Oculus Rift that you use occasionally for Oculus Rift exclusives. That particular Oculus Rift, do you just leave the headphones that are attached on, or do you want to go with a better higher end headphone?
No, I'm no audiophile. I'd rather just go with the convenience.
Okay, the convenience factor is there. All right, and man, I had something on the tip of my tongue, and now I freaking forgot about it. Okay, what else can we go to? Well, what about the Oculus Quest in general? Like, I can't remember that, so many different people we talk to, and one person likes the Quest, one person has no interest in ever buying a Quest, and I'm trying to remember which camp you fell into.
I will buy a Quest so that I can show VR to like people, like family at family get-togethers, or I could even go to work and show some people. I'll get it just for that.
Yeah, it is a good product for that. Plus, you decided not to get a Go because you have Gear VR and it's kind of the same thing. So you kind of skip that. So it kind of makes sense that maybe you jump on the Quest. It's a better idea. Okay, so now Quest, a 64 gig version, 128 gig version. Let's pretend it is 500. 400 or 500. You said money not a major object for you, so are you going to go for the larger storage?
I think I would go for the 64, because I don't think there are a ton of games I'm even going to want for Quest. So I don't think there's a bunch that I'm going to need to really want to have installed.
What about the angle of cross-play and cross-buy from a standpoint? You don't have kids yet, right?
Yeah.
But what about the idea of maybe a buddy coming over to your house and you could be in the same room? One person's on a Quest, one person's on the Rift. Maybe even sometimes you'll hop on the Quest and you'll let your buddy play on the Rift with the higher end visuals, and you guys could maybe be playing co-op. You could be in the same kind of thing doing something. Does that interest you at all?
Well, I already have that set up. That's why I have a Vive with its own computer and a Rift with its own computer.
But you're in different rooms though.
Different rooms in the basement. So like we're right next to each other.
So you can shout. You can shout back and forth.
You could talk at normal voice and hear each other.
Oh, okay. So that's cool. Okay, so you're already chilling from that standpoint. Our Gambo says Quest is disposable. What about the aspect of like going on vacation someplace? Like if you were going to, let's say you're going on a trip to California, or you're going to Europe or something. Do you bring any of this stuff with you?
Maybe I would bring the Quest. Maybe I don't take a lot of vacations, so that's another thing. Oh yeah, if I took a lot of vacations, I would be more likely to get a Rift S, because I could just, like you guys have said before, or maybe you did, that you can just bring a laptop and then you're good.
Yeah, there is an advantage for that. Like, see, you have your dedicated man cave for both of these headsets. So you've got your lighthouses. They're screwed into the wall or whatever. You got them set up perfectly. You got your Oculus sensors set up perfectly. But if you were to bounce from room to room, or you were in a situation where you can be in this room this day, but you got to move it into that room the other day. I mean, there's kids out there that might be like 20 years old that are living at their parents' house, and they might be able to, they might want to use it in the living room one day, but then move it somewhere else another day. That's kind of a cool thing, right?
Yeah, someone like Chris, or if you have like, your apartment or your dorm room in college, and then you come home and you're moving back and forth. Definitely people like that, yeah.
All right. How about, is there any question that you want to ask me as far as somebody that was at GDC, or like any questions about like, I don't know, anything that comes to mind in terms of like what I was looking at, or why didn't I go here? Why didn't I try that? I could have tried so many freaking cool things, Mamefan. I really, really screwed up by going on Tuesday and Wednesday. Major, major mistake on my part. Because if I went Wednesday and Thursday, I would have had another day on the giant expo floor where everything is located, right? And you've heard me talk about Improbable probably a couple times, which is this UK company. They've created something called Spatial OS, which is actually different than Magic Leap's Spatial OS. It's slightly different, right? And they were the backbone for MetaWorld VR. They're also the backbone for Nostos, with this idea of like massively multiplayer metaverse type situations kind of going on, right? They were there. Like I could have gone through their demos and talked to an Improbable guy. Here's some breaking news, guys. I mean, not really breaking news, but I talked to an Improbable guy about MetaWorld VR. And when I asked him about it, he was taken aback slightly. Because it's like, oh yeah, freaking MetaWorld VR, because they had these logos on their booth. They had a logo for like Nostos and for like a couple of other things. They had there was like 4 or 5 logos that they had up there that basically were saying all of these things are using Improbable. They're using their background setup for like massively multiplayer metaverses almost. And there was no logo for MetaWorld VR. And I asked the guy, I was like, whatever happened to MetaWorld VR? Are you guys not working with them anymore? And he kind of dodged everything. But basically, the gist that I got was they kind of want to forget about MetaWorld VR. And it seems like MetaWorld VR has disappeared into the mist. And so I feel really bad for anybody that paid money, because they had a website, like you could buy like plots of land and all of that. They were almost doing like a PlayStation Home thing, or remember when PlayStation Home was this was back in the PS3 days, right, when we had PlayStation Home, and they were selling things for major retailers and for companies to create like some kind of space where people could come to and like you could visit it in, I don't know, did you ever use PlayStation Home or ever screw around with that way back in the days?
No, I've never been into MMOs or anything like that. I went into VR chat once, and it was, I don't know, it was too many people. I'm very introverted.
Oh, okay.
And it's not really my thing.
To be in like a big group like that, even if you have the shield of the fact that they're not really seeing you, they don't know who you are and all of that. So like big screen TV, you don't really like screw around with that type of stuff either.
Big screen beta, yeah.
Yeah, big screen beta.
I went to that once, and then I was like, nope. Yeah, I don't really want to talk to people in VR. I just want to kill them.
Oh no, we need to jot that down. Let's watch Mamefan. Put him on the list.
Oh, and there's the commando. Right now I see the commando picture, so that fits in with that statement.
Yeah, and that probably reminds me. I probably should throw a different trailer on here. I just had some different Oh, I was just running this Shadow Point trailer. All right, let's throw a crazy montage of me wearing the Rift S. Okay.
I have played co-op with some other guys, you know, like that watch VR 365, and that's fun. If it's people I know and it's just, you know, 3 other or fewer than that, yeah, that I like that.
It is weird though. Like one thing, I'm kind of introverted myself. It might seem crazy that I would be considered introverted, but I am. Like, I don't freely just walk up to people and start yapping to them about any old thing. Usually I like to have some kind of like, I like to know somebody a little bit. And then when I know somebody a little bit, then I'm extroverted. I'm like the opposite. But, you know, but one thing I've noticed being in some of these different multiplayer things where there's a whole bunch of people, like I remember the Wave VR, like I was in the Wave VR demo where it was like a rave, you know, they're like having a party and there's all these people that are in there. And it's weird because you're hidden. Nobody sees you. Nobody knows what you look like. You know, nobody knows. I mean, maybe I can worry a little bit more because my voice, like somebody might recognize me from VR Roundtable or something. But like if you're not on a podcast or something, no one knows your voice. And so you have this anonymity, but at the same time, you feel like you don't. Like you feel like you still are exposed, huh? You feel like people can still see you. It's kind of weird how that is.
It's mostly that I don't want to listen to other people, I think. I don't know.
Well, you know what?
I'm fine with listening to you, but I don't know. Random people on the internet, I don't know.
But there's also the other factor too. Like, I've always thought, like going into a fantasy world, like for example, Skyrim VR. Okay, so if Skyrim VR was truly multiplayer, and you could have like 10, 15 people in the experience at the same time, one of the problems with that for me would be the fact that these people are not talking like they're in medieval times, you know? So it's like an immersion breaker as well. You get people talking about, yeah, man, you know, I got to watch Breaking Bad tonight or, you know, whatever the hell it is. And it's like, oh, man, I'm thinking I'm in a medieval world. I'm trying to pretend like I'm in a medieval world, and then you're breaking that.
That's funny. I recently finished Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Okay.
What were you about to say?
Oh, I don't know. I was talking about like the idea of role playing, you know, almost like role playing in these different experiences.
I can't do that. I did that, you know, in Shadow Legend for a minute, you know, using my voice like I'm that guy, and then I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore.
I could do it, but it's goofy. It's pretty goofy. But like if you got into a group of people where everybody was doing it, yeah, it's almost like LARPing, really, basically. It's pretty much LARPing, but you're...
I've never LARPed.
Yeah, I've never LARPed either. Okay, so let's see, what else can we talk about? Well, what about some of these new games that we found out about? For example, Dead and Buried 2. So it's coming to the Oculus Quest. It's coming to the Oculus Rift. You should be able to play it on a Vive and a Pimax and all of that through Revive or whatever if you're going, you know, through the Oculus Rift version. Is there a level of excitement for that? Like, have you played the original Dead and Buried? Are you hyped for Dead and Buried 2 at all?
I played Dead and Buried once, and I wasn't that into it. After what you said about Dead and Buried 2, I'm not, you know, I'm less interested than I was before. Because you said it was pretty meh.
Yeah, yeah. What I played was not inspiring, but the one see, I honestly came out of Dead and Buried 2 thinking, oh my God, I'm not looking for Dead and Buried 2 is not on my most wanted list at all. But then I had to back up a little bit and I had to say, wait a minute. Let's realize that all I played was one single multiplayer level, one single map that was in a multiplayer mode, and it's very possible that Dead and Buried 2 is going to have like all the different modes that the original Dead and Buried had, as well as having like this little multiplayer Quake type thing. And maybe if I had never sampled this ever before and I got Dead and Buried 2 and I'm in all the single player stuff and I'm in all the co-op stuff, I could have a lot of fun with that. And then there's this multiplayer option where it's kind of like Quake, but that's not really my bag. I'm never going to go into it. I'm not even going to bother with it, but I still enjoy Dead and Buried 2. So I had to kind of back up and say, wait a minute, maybe I'm kind of being a little bit too harsh here.
If it's anything like Slightly Heroes and has a leaderboard that I can work my way up, then I will like Dead and Buried 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it probably will have that. See, the problem I had with it is, like, if I'm going to play one of these kinds of multiplayer games, I want to play a multiplayer game that I feel like is like the pinnacle of that, you know, like Contractors or like War Dust or something where it's like, or Pavlov or something, you know, where it's like a proven commodity. And it's not just a Me Too multiplayer where you're just running around hallways, just shooting at people crazily. I want to think that this is like, it's one of those, but it's a better one of those.
Let me ask you, when you play Contractors, do you ever see a black semicircle thing in your view?
I can't.
Anyone in chat?
It's been a while since I played Contractors. I don't remember anything like that.
Whenever I play it, I see that, and it makes me not want to play it.
Okay. Another question I'll go to is, right now I have Journey of the Gods, which is running on our little trailer here. And this is developed by Turtle Rock Studios. They've made several different VR games. I believe they did Face Your Fears on both the Rift and the Go, and like Gear VR as well. They've also made a number of Gear. You actually might know them more for some of their Gear VR stuff. I think they did The Well and Other Worlds and Blade Runner Replicant thing. They did all of that on Gear VR as well. Did you play any of those?
I stopped playing Gear VR once Rift and Vive came out.
Okay.
Those sound like more recent things.
Yeah, but they have experience is the point I'm making, I guess. You're looking at these visuals here. You're probably not too blown away by them, I'd imagine.
No, but I mean, there are plenty of games that don't have good graphics that I like a lot. If it's anything like Zelda, I'll like it because I do love Zelda games.
And it looks very much like Zelda. It reminds me of Zelda. It reminds me of Darksiders, which is obviously also going after Zelda as well. And this appears to be a spring 2019 game for the Oculus Quest, so it probably will arrive right around when the Quest launches, maybe not that first day, but within, you know, a month or so. And you do plan on grabbing a Quest, maybe more so to show other people than really use it yourself as much. But is this a game that interests you? Do you think you might pick this one up right away? Or
I think this is Quest and Rift.
Yeah, but the Rift version is going to be coming a lot later, I think.
Oh, okay. I would probably wait for it then, rather than get it on Quest.
You just grab. Well, what about the whole cross-buy thing?
Oh, cross-buy. Well, if people say it's really good, then yeah, I would get it for Quest.
So cross-buy, actually, one thing I haven't thought about. I'm assuming that cross-buy would work both directions, right? So if you were to buy Journey of the Gods on your Oculus Quest and you're in your whatever primary Oculus account that you're in, later when it does release on Rift, you basically just download it for free, right? If this is the way this is working.
But only if the dev actually allows it or did whatever work they have to do to make that happen.
True, but you would have to assume that if the game is published by Oculus, all of those are going to do that. And it's really the third party. Like, this is Turtle Rock Studios is the developer, but Oculus is publishing this game.
Okay. In an upload article I read, it said that it's up to the developer.
That's interesting because normally the publisher would make a decision like that, and the developer is just developing the game. The publisher is bringing it to the platforms. You would think maybe they said that just because a lot of times when they're talking about third-party games, like Pixel Ripped 1989 or Final Assault or whatever, like all these games, the publisher and the developer are like the same person, like they're doing both. You know what I mean? So I think we could assume that anything that is published by Oculus is probably going to have cross-buy enabled.
Okay.
So I mean that's kind of a bonus, right?
Yeah, like Super Hot. Maybe I Expect You to Die. Maybe that they should put that on Quest.
Yeah. Do you own, of the known Quest games that are out there that we know that are Quest games, and you might not have like a super knowledge of like everything that's coming out on Quest, because I don't know if you like are that hyped where you'd be following it super closely, but in your Oculus account, do you already own anything that could possibly be a free game on Quest for you just because you happen to get a Quest?
I have Super Hot. Beat Saber, I have it on Steam. Robo Recall, I have that.
It's kind of crazy. Like if we get Robo Recall for free, right?
For Quest. I had to pay for it. I had to pay for it because I bought Robo Recall back when I only had a Vive. Then there's The Climb. I'm looking at a list right now. I don't know what else. Looks like that might be it. I don't know if I already said Super Hot.
Yeah, so you have Super Hot in your Oculus account?
Yeah, I have it on both because it used to be an Oculus exclusive, so I bought it through Oculus and played it with my Vive back when it came out.
Yeah, it's kind of like, but that's a cool idea. Like this is a good idea because think of the people that are out there that may already have Super Hot in their Oculus account. They might already have Beat Saber in their Oculus account. They might already have The Climb in their Oculus account. And they weren't really thinking about the Oculus Quest, but now they realize, they understand that, oh, there's this cross-buy thing. If I were to just buy an Oculus Quest, I instantly have a nice little collection of games. And yeah, maybe I've already played all of these games and I kind of already know them, so I'm not like super excited to play Robo Recall. But at the same time, if I'm going on vacation and I'm taking my Quest with me because it's a small, compact thing that has everything built in, I don't got to worry about bringing a laptop as well and anything else. It's all there. That might be that extra incentive to get a lot of people to buy a Quest, right?
Yeah, definitely. They definitely should do that. Just like how PlayStation needs to should probably make it backwards compatible with, the PSVR 2 with the PSVR.
Yeah,
I mean, that's sort of similar.
Okay, so Les Marwick in our chat is saying, I doubt cross-buy will count for games released before the Quest launch. And see, that point that he's making, that's kind of what I assumed as well. I didn't think like, it's kind of like they're grandfathering us in. Like I have Beat Saber. Like, well, on our VR Roundtable account, for example, we've got Beat Saber on there. I think we got like Pixel Ripped 1989 that's on there, and Dead and Buried, and a lot of these things, right? They're all on there, and so. Like, I was kind of blown away. Like, when the show was going live on VR Roundtable, I was like, wait a minute. I'm just going to have all these games on Quest? It seems kind of crazy to me. It seems crazy talk that we'd be grandfathered in. But Steve, Steve mostly, Gary maybe a little bit, seemed to insinuate, yeah, you're going to get both because it's just going to recognize that you have Beat Saber in your Oculus account, your normal Oculus account, and now you have a Quest and you're on your Quest, so Beat Saber is just going to automatically be unlocked. But Les Marwick is saying no, that's not going to happen. So my question for Les is, do you really think that the Oculus system is going to say, well, yeah, you already own this game, but it came out before the Quest was available, so this one's not going to count. Like, don't you think Oculus would have to clarify that? And maybe they still will because it's not available yet. Any thoughts, Mamefan?
Oh, I thought you were talking to...
Well, I am. I'm talking to him, but I mean, I don't
Yeah.
have his voice on, so
Yeah.
if you wanted to say anything about it, go
You
ahead.
mean whether I think, I doubt they'll count?
Yeah, the grandfathering in of these previous games.
I had never heard that, or I never thought of that. I would lean more toward they will count, but that might just be wishful thinking.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean towards they will count simply because of simplicity. I think it would just get too complicated if you start making all these little exceptions and stuff. It gets a little bit complicated. So, yeah, I think it will count.
Will Flourish said almost everything I bought for Gear VR was available for the Go when I got it. But those are both Android, so that's easier, I would think.
Yeah. Okay, and Les Marvick has replied. He says, I think the devs of those games just won't opt in for those games. Okay, yeah, I will agree with you from a standpoint of like maybe Pixel Rift Incorporated, for example. But I'm thinking of stuff that's published by Oculus, like Dead and Buried, published by Oculus. Robo Recall, published by Oculus. What else? What else is there? Super Hot wasn't published by... I don't know if Super Hot was published by Oculus or if it was published by like the Super Hot people. So that's gonna be one of those things where we're probably gonna wonder like who is the publisher of these things, because then they could possibly say no. You know, they could definitely say no. Although it almost seems like Oculus is kind of winking at these devs, saying, "You guys should probably follow our program here. You know, just follow our program. Just go along with it. Don't get so greedy." Skid Row says, is the Quest not going to get its own store? It's going to have its own store, but it'll be tied in, like your account. Like I would imagine if I grabbed an Oculus Quest, right, and I'm setting it up, if I already have an Oculus account, I imagine I would put in my email and my password, and then bam, I'm in there. But I'm in the Quest store that's only going to have the Quest games that are in there. But it's going to be my Oculus account, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that's the way it's going to work. Okay. Anything else in terms of like GDC? Like, one thing I can talk to you about is just San Francisco in general. I don't know if I've talked about this too many times since getting back.
The rich and the poor. Yeah,
it is such a weird thing, man. Just San Francisco is just a weird ass city. Like any way you slice it is a weird. It's a very interesting place. And see, I've lived in Sacramento pretty much my entire life, basically. I lived in LA and I lived in San Diego for very brief periods of time, but primarily always been in Sacramento. And San Francisco has always been a relatively short drive away, so I could drive to San Francisco. So I've been to San Francisco hundreds of times and, stayed there for many days and seen everything there is to see in San Francisco. But just going back there for GDC, and I was staying at a hotel that was like a couple of blocks. Like I only had to walk like 4 or 5 blocks to get to GDC. So that worked out really great that I was able to do that. But just walking around San Francisco, the mixture of humanity that is on the streets is so interesting, because you have people that are working for like tech companies that have like stock options that are like rich as F, and they're walking along the boulevard and they're drinking their Starbucks. And then you've got the homeless people, that are smelly and they're like peeing in the corner, and there's trash and stuff like all over the place. And one of the things that Sebastian told me, he's like, because I was talking to him about this exact thing. This was off camera. We were talking about this, and he's like, yes, and you smell marijuana everywhere. It reminds me of, he was like, it reminds me of Amsterdam. You smell marijuana everywhere. And yeah, San Francisco is just so weird. Have you ever been there?
No, I've never been. I've only been to San Diego in California.
Oh, man, you never even been to LA?
Nope.
Wow, you need to make a California trip.
Yeah, I'm not a traveler.
Why? Because of humanity. You don't want to deal with humanity
Yeah.
again, right?
It's I don't know, the whole getting on a plane and packing. It's just like this big pain in my ass. I don't know. It's just like a lot of times not worth it
Yeah,
for me.
getting on a plane, especially after like ever since 9/11 and stuff, it was a lot easier prior to that.
Hmm.
You know, now that we have to go through all these security measures and all of that. What about like flying on a plane in general? Is there any like nervousness? Like I'll admit it, straight up, when the plane leaves the ground, I'm a little bit unsettled. I like to be on solid ground.
I'm not nervous usually. Only if there's a lot of turbulence, then maybe I'll feel a little like ugh. But that's about it.
Yeah, so that's not part of it for you. You just don't want to deal with the traveling.
It's the whole hassle of it all. And then, okay, you usually go on vacation with your family, right? Or your wife.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times that's additional stress. You know,
Yeah.
that, you know.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It can be stressful, like traveling. What about like PAX East? You know, so you're back east, right? How long would it take you to like drive or whatever? Rudel Zavedno says you sound depressed.
This dude sounds depressed.
No, this is just Mamefan's normal mode. He's just kind of like chill and relaxed.
He's figured me out. PAX East. Where is that?
Boston.
Oh, hell no. I'm not going to Boston.
How long would it take you to get there? Like if you had to drive? Hours?
Oh my God. God, it would take so long. I did a road trip to Boston with my mom when I was a kid, and I don't remember how long it took, but it was miserable, the drive. So no.
Jarillo says you sound stoned.
Oh, no, that's funny. Actually, I don't smoke weed. Not since like college.
Yeah.
I have a clearance, and you know those are questions, and it's just not even worth it.
Yeah. What about like all the like, do you have any, like, is there any, you know, all these YouTubers, right? They're all going to PAX East. There's going to be all these demos there. I mean, if you were closer to Boston, like let's say you were an hour away, would that be something you'd do, or you just wouldn't want to deal with it? Because there's crowds like crazy too.
If I were an hour away, I would. There's an annual thing called MagFest, Music and Gaming Festival, that I go to often. It's and it's really close. I live in Alexandria, Virginia, and it's right by me. It's, I don't know, 15 minutes away. So it might take stuff being that close sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we talk about Final Assault a little bit? So did you actually pick up the full version of this, or you were back in the beta thinking about it?
A Slightly Heroes friend gave me a free key.
Oh, cool.
So I played it last night, and I played on the veteran difficulty, which is normal, and I got my ass kicked. I tried 3 different times, and I just got destroyed. So I guess I had to do the rookie difficulty.
Yeah.
I mean, were you destroyed?
Yeah, dude. Like first of all, I'm not an RTS guy in the first place, so all of these games are hard for me because the idea of like doing a million different things at one time is not normally my idea of fun. It's like it's too chaotic, and like I don't want to multi-manage 25 things at one time. But then this game, in addition to that, it's not the easiest game to. I mean, I'm watching the video right now, and it's showing, you know, how you just draw. You want this tank to go over there, and that. So it seems like it's crazy easy when you see some of this stuff. But like actually doing it, like controlling your planes, especially, and getting your planes to drop the bombs where you want them to drop the bombs, you have to learn how to finesse that the right way.
Yeah, I wasn't good with the planes, but I was going down trying to get them to kill the infantry guys, and like sometimes the planes would do it, but a lot of times it wouldn't. And yeah, I didn't feel like I was in much control of what they were actually doing.
Yeah, here's what I found out about the planes is that if you have, like, let's say you got a plane up here, right, and pretty much right below it you have some troops that you want it to shoot or bomb.
Yeah.
You can't just draw down like that, like just go down there. What you got to do is you have to draw your plane this way and then come back around and then like have a landing strip and then shoot the guys is what you kind of have to do. You got to like guide, you got to give the plane like an opportunity like
to get low.
Yeah, to do what it needs to do.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like Fluke Rogi, like he was saying that he played this and he wasn't a huge fan of it. And I'm wondering if it was a situation where like there is a learning curve. And so sometimes people buy these games, and if the learning curve is more than what they really wanted to deal with, they're like, I don't, and they just kind of get frustrated and they're not a fan of it. And then other people are willing to like live with the learning curve and invest the necessary time because they know that if they take the time to learn it, then the fun is that much more. So where do you fall in that category? Do you want to like know how to play a game immediately, or are you willing to invest time into a game?
I'm willing to invest time, definitely, if it's fun. And I'm going to go back in this game and try Rookie and see how that goes. But if I get my ass beat in Rookie, I don't know. I might not try again.
Did you ever play Tabletop Gods?
No.
No. But you have played Brass Tactics.
Yeah, I have Brass Tactics.
Okay. How would you compare this to
free
Brass?
version? So I played the free version, and I just played some of the tutorial stuff.
Yeah.
And then I never played it again.
Really?
Like I have the full game, and I haven't played it again.
Yeah, I mean, see, this isn't my genre, so it's like, I know this is such a great game, but like, it's not really my genre, so it's kind of one of those things. It's like, there might be some really good puzzle games, or like a really good multiplayer game like Contractors, but it's just not my genre, so I don't have like an excitement to play it, but I know it's a good game, and but sometimes I end up not playing it. But I feel bad. I mean, I don't know, Phaser Lock Interactive, do you think they made like a major error by launch? Because this game got delayed. Well, it had a release date that was earlier, and then it got pushed. I think it had a release date in February originally, and then they basically, on the Steam page, they put April. And so we were thinking this was coming in April, but we didn't have the exact date. And then all of a sudden, bam, it just comes out in March. Do you think Phaser Lock Interactive made a huge tactical error in releasing this game with all this shit going on right now?
Probably, yeah. And it's still in early access. They could have waited. So, yeah, probably.
Timing is everything. I really believe that. Timing is everything when it comes to this stuff. Like, if you release the difference between releasing your game in mid-January and mid-February could be I mean, just from week to week, like the different games that are coming out, because sometimes we have these little mini droughts, right? Where there's nothing coming out for about 2.5 weeks, and like nothing has come out for a while, and then one big game comes out, and because it's the first big game in like the last 3 weeks, everybody jumps on it. And then you have the alternative situation where like a couple big games just came out like 4 days ago, and then another big game comes out, and you're thinking, wait a minute, why did you do this? I'm too enraptured with these other 2 games that just came out. Like, I don't know why developers don't focus in on this more in terms of like timing, and some of it may be out of their hands in terms of like how Steam like unravels their games. Like, it might not be completely in their control.
Maybe they have investors that are like, you need to release this by this date. We need our return on investment.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's Final Assault. Let's see here. We've been going for about an hour now, and I'm starting to get hungry. I was thinking if there's anything else I could put. Oh, what about Nintendo Labo? Why don't I throw this on the screen? I can talk to you a little bit about Labo.
I have a Switch.
Okay.
And that latest video actually made me interested. Like, I'll probably get it.
Yeah, it looks really good, actually. I mean, it looks, at least it looks good enough where you want to see it. You want to see it for yourself, right?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, and I didn't realize until that video that they have those little circles. Are those like some sort of IR thing? That like the controllers will know their position based on where those little white circles are on, like, for example, the elephant.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
So that's how they're doing 6th off.
Yeah.
Maybe in this video, maybe they'll show the elephant or something, and then you'll see.
But like, I'm looking at this underwater, like it's showing underwater, and you're looking at the fish swim around and stuff. And looking at the graphics that they're showing, it looks really good. Now, you got to imagine it's not really going to look anything like that, right?
Exactly. I think a lot of people will be disappointed as hell, not realizing that it's not going to look anything like that.
Yeah. What do you think about the idea where you're basically going to be holding this thing up to your face, so there's no head strap, but it's just...
Sorry, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say it's designed for that, so that's kind of the way it's supposed to go, right?
I think it's just going to be, for me, it's just going to be something fun, little gimmick. I'm not going to want to hold this thing up for any length of time.
Yeah. Are you going to try to, like, do you think you'll get the complete bundle, the $80 one, or just the basic one, or?
Probably the full one.
So that way you have the opportunity to try all these different games.
Yeah. I'm seeing on the screen, I saw the elephant. I don't know, you probably might not have seen it, but yeah, I saw the dots all over the elephant's face. Yeah, that's allowing for 6-stop movement with the elephant.
God, it's a damn shame that they couldn't also bring this to Oculus or something just so we could see it in a high resolution. Because I'm looking at a lot of these little video, the video samples that are in here, and there's a lot of Nintendo. Say what you will about Nintendo, there is a Nintendo magic. There really is. And it's always reminded me of classic Disney magic, Disney and Nintendo. There's just something special about what they do. It's they care about what they're doing more than anybody else, and they constantly will iterate on things and dial it in and polish it to ridiculous levels. And that in VR, you combine that with VR, because a lot of VR stuff we have is very crappy. They don't polish it. The menus are janky. The sound effects are not done very well. And so, man, it makes me want to have more VR from Nintendo, seeing this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a Mario or Zelda game, I'll take a break from VR to play those.
Oh,
not many games I can say about that. About what were you going to say?
You'll go back to flat gaming to play.
I'll go back to flat gaming for those games.
Did you have a 3D? Did you ever own a 3DS with 3D? What was it? The main Mario that was on there? Was it 3D Mario World? I forget.
3D Land.
Mario 3D Land or whatever.
Yeah. Then they also had some other ones too that were side scrolling.
Yeah. But the 3D Mario Land, because the 3D worked well. I remember, I have a 3DS, and I played a lot of that 3D Mario Land, and the 3D really worked well. And I always imagined, I remember back at that time, I was thinking, what if they had this on a 3D TV? Because it was back more in the 3D TV time, right? And I was thinking, what if somebody made an emulator for your computer that could emulate the 3DS with actual real 3D, and then I could watch it on a 3D TV with some good 3D glasses and be able to play Mario World in pure 3D where it's perfect and there's no ghosting or anything. Of course, now that we're in VR, you think about, man, how awesome would it be to play that full game in VR?
There's a 3DS emulator for PC out there that's supposedly really good, and it seems like that would be possible.
But I don't hear anybody talking about it, so I think if it was really out there, I think people would be talking about it.
Oh, no. There's a Wii U emulator and a 3DS emulator that are both very good. I mean, I've watched videos of it. But, they're extremely illegal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, isn't Dolphin illegal? And people talk about that all the time.
Maybe it's just the ROMs that are illegal.
Yeah.
Not the emulator itself.
Oh, you're saying the actual emulators are illegal compared to Dolphin is not?
No, Dolphin is the emulator.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's not illegal. The ROMs are.
Sure.
Having the ROMs when you don't own the game.
Look at all these little mini games. 64 different. Look at this little game where that car. Well, you're 7 seconds behind, but there's a little Doom buggy car that's driving around. Lots of little crazy things, huh?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Astrobot in that way, where Astrobot. It was every little level, they were showing you something different and something unique. And maybe even if we can never really play these on a good VR setup. The good news is at least developers will probably see this stuff and they might get some good ideas, and then they might bring them to actual real VR headsets. Kind of in the same way with Astrobot. Like, I think people are going to learn from Astrobot, and that will eventually trickle its way into PC VR games as well.
Yeah, and what I was saying about the 3D simulator, no, it's just emulating it like two-dimensional. What I mean is, like, eventually they could make it 3D and maybe make it work with VR headsets.
Yeah. What about the aspect of like building all the cardboard and stuff? Because I've heard like that's the most enjoyable part of it, but it also seems kind of tedious. Like, do you think you'd be into that part of it, or you just want to see the damn game, really?
I just want to see the damn games.
Yeah. That's kind of me too. But everybody says like the building is actually the best part, and like you have all the fun building all this stuff. Oh, those are the white dots you're talking about. Yeah, I saw it on that guy's head.
Okay. If you have kids, building maybe would be the fun part, but I don't have kids to build it with, so
yeah,
I think it would just be maybe annoying.
Alrighty, well, you know what? I got to get something to eat because I'm starving. Because I ate at like 8 in the morning a long time ago before VR Roundtable. It wasn't even a very big breakfast, so I am absolutely starving. But Mamefan, I want to thank you so much, especially for today, because I had nothing prepared. So to have somebody to be able to talk to and ask you questions and stuff, this really worked out great. Thanks so much for that. Truly appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, Conrad Lawrence said he'll build it for me. So thanks a lot.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, okay, Mamefan, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna go ahead and end our Skype call, and I'll go ahead and talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
But yeah, nice talking with you.
You too. All right, bye.
Okay, so yeah, that will go ahead and do it for Mamefan there, and let me go ahead and get my standard little outro logo on the screen here, and we'll do that. Okay, let's turn that down. Alrighty, well, yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for today's show. This was our Sunday Fun Day episode. Thanks so much for everybody joining us today. I know we were a bit all over the place, and maybe it wasn't like the Rift S discussion that you guys really wanted, but I'm starting to get a little bit tired of Rift S. Like, I mean, I don't know how many ways we can analyze this. I'm sure we will continue to talk about Rift S. We'll continue to talk about Oculus Quest as more little details start to unravel. And this next week coming up, starting tomorrow, is going to be an interesting week, you know, because there's a PlayStation thing that is going on tomorrow. It's like I forget what they call it, but it's basically like a Nintendo Direct that is going to happen tomorrow. We might get some new PlayStation VR games that are announced. We might get actual release dates for stuff like Blood and Truth and some of the different PSVR games that are going to be coming up. So that's good. And then also the Valve Ecosystem Conference. That is actually on the 26th, but because of the way time zones work, it's really more tomorrow that we're going to maybe find out some information at the Valve Ecosystem Conference. So that's going to be very interesting as well. Of course, then we have PAX East starting this Thursday. We're going to find out if Nostradamus Jr. is on the money or not. And that's going to be fun to see what happens there on the first day of PAX East. And, of course, all the YouTubers and everybody that are going to be there at PAX East for Oculus and what's going to unravel with that. That's going to be interesting. So we got some good stuff coming up this week, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, one thing I do need to say tomorrow is I'm not really sure what time I'm going to do this show tomorrow. I'm thinking of possibly 4:30 p.m. Tomorrow, Pacific time. 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, Pacific time, tentatively is my plan, but that's not locked in stone. So basically, I'll put it this way. It's either going to be 4:30 p.m. or probably 7 p.m. Pacific time. Now, that is for Tuesday. I mean, that is for Monday and Tuesday. But the good news is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, this show is going to be 2 p.m. So it's a little bit closer to our old time back in the days. I'm still going to work every day, but my hours it's not full 8 hours every single day. So I'm doing like 6 hours on Monday and Tuesday, and then I'm doing 4 hours Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So basically, just go ahead and what you want to do is just subscribe to this channel. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and then that way you'll get the times. I'll put a little thumbnail image, I'll make an event. You'll get the times ahead of time, and you'll know what time to tune in. So, I'm still planning on doing this show every single day if possible. As crazy as that may be, I want to do that. That's what VR365 is all about. Having a regular, going back to a regular day job does make it a little bit difficult, but I'm still planning on sticking with that. So that's the plan going forward. But I truly appreciate all your guys' support, everything that you guys have brought to the table in chat and everything. VR Roundtable as well. We really appreciate your support for VR Roundtable, coming into chat and all of that. So I plan on seeing you guys tomorrow, Monday, at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that's the plan for now, and we'll see you guys then. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. Get out there and buy Transference for $10 or buy Final Assault for $20. I think they're both great games and good developers that should be rewarded and all those kinds of things. All right, anyways, guys, have a wonderful weekend. Take it easy. See you later. Bye-bye.